Anthony Davis is having an insane season. From the very first game, he's been a force of nature, dominating on both ends of the floor and reminding everyone why he's one of the league's elite. His numbers are incredible, and when you dig into them, you realize just how special his performance has been so far. Let's start with scoring. Davis is averaging an eye-popping 30.1 points per game, which ranks him fourth in the entire league. That's no small feat considering the level of talent in today's NBA. What makes this even more impressive is how efficient he's been while putting up these numbers. He's shooting 55.6% from the field, and it's not just easy buckets. Davis has been knocking down tough mid-range shots, dominating in the post, and even stepping out to hit from deep. And speaking of his range, let's talk about his three-point shooting. Davis is hitting an incredible 40.6% of his shots from beyond the arc. For a player of his size and skill set, that's almost unheard of. It's rare to see a big man with such a well-rounded offensive game. That three-point efficiency means defenses can't sag off him, and it opens up the floor for everyone else. He's a matchup nightmare because he can score from anywhere on the court. On the boards, Davis has been relentless. He's pulling down 11.1 rebounds per game, which ranks him 8th in the league. Rebounding isn't just about size. It's about timing, effort, and positioning. And Davis excels in all those areas. He's crashing the glass on both ends of the floor, giving the Lakers extra possessions and shutting down opportunities for their opponents. Now let's get into his defense, which has been nothing short of elite. Davis is swatting away 1.9 shots per game, putting him 9th in the league in blocks. His ability to protect the rim has been a game changer for the Lakers. Opposing players think twice before driving into the paint when Davis is patrolling it. And it's not just blocks. He's also averaging 1.3 steals per game. That kind of defensive versatility is rare, and it's what makes Davis such a unique player. But his impact goes beyond the traditional box score stats. When you look at his advanced numbers, the picture gets even clearer. Davis is 3rd in the league in points per 36 minutes, averaging 30.8. That puts him right behind Giannis and LaMelo Ball. It's not just about how much he scores, but how efficiently he does it. His true shooting percentage is 63.8, which combines his shooting efficiency from the field, the free throw line, and beyond the arc. It shows just how lethal he is offensively. Davis's aggressiveness has also been a huge factor this season. He's averaging 10.3 free throw attempts per game, which is the second most in the league. That speaks volumes about his style of play. He's not settling for tough shots, he's attacking the basket, forcing defenders to foul him, and getting to the line. And while his free throw percentage of 78.1 isn't elite, it's solid enough to make those trips to the line count. Consistency is another area where Davis has been remarkable. He's only had one game all season where he scored under 20 points. Think about that for a second. Night after night, Davis is delivering big performances. Even on his off nights, he finds ways to contribute, whether it's rebounding, defending, or getting to the free throw line. That level of consistency is what separates good players from the truly great ones. Let's talk about his offensive impact in more detail. Davis is tied for 7th in the league in offensive EPM with a score of 4.6. That metric measures how much a player contributes to his team's offense compared to an average player. He's right there with guys like LaMelo Ball. The fact that he's in this conversation shows how much of a difference he's making for the Lakers. Davis's durability and workload also deserve some recognition. He's playing 35.2 minutes per game, which ranks 26th in the league. That's a heavy workload for any player, let alone a big man who's constantly battling in the paint. Yet, Davis hasn't slowed down. He's performing at an elite level despite the physical toll, and that's a testament to his conditioning and mental toughness. One of the most impressive stats about Davis this season is his number of 25-point games. He's one of only a handful of players to hit double digits in that category, joining stars like Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum. That kind of consistency in scoring is what puts Davis in the conversation for MVP. Even when he has an off night, like his recent game against the Nuggets, he's still finding ways to contribute. Sure, that game might have been his worst of the season, but it's just one blip in what has otherwise been a spectacular year. The fact that it stands out so much only highlights how dominant he's been in every other game. It's also worth mentioning how Davis has adapted his game to fit the team's needs. The Lakers rely on him to be their go-to scorer, their defensive anchor, and their leader on the court. That's a lot of responsibility, but Davis has embraced it. He's not just putting up numbers, he's making winning plays. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Davis. I want to dive into some of the in-depth advanced stats for Davis because his are crazy. First off, we can look at his scoring. Anthony Davis has been absolutely ridiculous this season when it comes to scoring and efficiency. His advanced stats are off the charts. And every time he steps on the court, he's putting on a show. Let's break it down because these numbers are wild. First, Davis is averaging 30.1 points per game. That's more than 99% of players in the league right now. 30 points a night is elite, but what makes it even crazier is how efficiently he's doing it. He's not just jacking up shots, he's scoring at an insane level while staying incredibly effective. Let's talk about his effective field goal percentage. Davis is shooting 57.9%. For context, effective field goal percentage adjusts for the fact that 3-point shots are worth more than 2s. It gives a clearer picture of a player's shooting efficiency, and Davis is outperforming more than 70% of the league in this category. That's unheard of for a big man who takes as many shots as he does. Here's where it gets even better. Davis is scoring 1.2 points per field goal attempt. Think about that. Every time he takes a shot, he's averaging more than 1 point. That includes all those tough mid-range jumpers, dunks, and even his threes. His mix of skill and size makes him unstoppable, and it shows every night. When you break it down even further, Davis is averaging 9.7 made 2-point field goals per game and 0.9 made 3-pointers. That's 10.6 buckets every game, and it's coming on just 19.1 shot attempts. His efficiency here is mind-blowing. He's not wasting opportunities. Every shot he takes is calculated and lethal. Now, let's look at true shooting percentage, or TS percent. This stat combines field goals, 3-pointers, and free throws to measure overall scoring efficiency. Davis's TS percent this season is an incredible 63.5%, which puts him ahead of nearly 80% of the league. That's an elite number for any player, let alone a big man carrying such a heavy offensive load. What makes his true shooting percentage so impressive is his ability to draw fouls and get to the line. Davis is averaging 10.3 free throw attempts per game. That's massive. He's not just scoring from the field. He's living at the charity stripe and making defenses pay for fouling him. And when you combine all this, Davis is averaging 1.3 points per scoring attempt. Think about how efficient that is. Whether he's posting up, driving to the rim, or pulling up for a jumper, he's making the most of every single possession. These numbers don't just happen by accident. They show how dominant Davis has been this season. He's a nightmare for defenders, and his ability to score so efficiently while carrying such a heavy workload is something you just don't see every day. It's been amazing to watch, and the stats prove just how special this season has been for him. After that, though, we can look at his teamwork stats. Anthony Davis's impact on teamwork this season is fascinating. His advanced stats show just how much he contributes to his team, even in ways that don't always jump off the stat sheet. Let's dive into the numbers, because they highlight how important he's been on the floor. First, take a look at his mixed teamwork stat, sitting at 54%. This measures how much his presence on the court creates a positive margin for the team compared to other players around the league. Essentially, when Davis is on the court, there's a good chance his team's in a better position to succeed than when he's not. That's a testament to how much he elevates everyone around him. Offensive and defensive ratings tell a big part of the story too. Davis has an offensive rating of 117, which means his team scores 117 points per 100 possessions while he's on the floor. That's elite production and shows how much he contributes to the offense through scoring, passing, and creating opportunities for teammates. On the defensive side, his defensive rating is 117.9. While that number might not seem dominant at first glance, it reflects the challenges of carrying such a heavy load on both ends of the floor. Even with that, he's been a key part of their defensive schemes, altering shots, grabbing rebounds, and anchoring the paint. Now, let's talk about net rating. Davis's net rating this season is minus 0.9. That might look like a small negative, but it speaks more to how the team performs as a whole rather than his individual impact. He's often tasked with playing against the opposing team's best players, and that can skew the numbers slightly. But make no mistake, his presence is felt in every aspect of the game. One stat I love is his games with a positive plus-minus, which sits at 53.3%. This means that in over half the games he's played, his team has outscored their opponents while he's on the court. That's huge, especially considering the level of competition he faces night in and night out. And then there's the on-off stat, which measures the team's point difference when he's on the floor versus when he's off. For Davis, this number is minus 2.2. While the team might not see a massive boost in raw point differential with him on the court, his ability to keep the game close and maintain competitiveness is invaluable. It's not always about blowing teams out. Sometimes it's about keeping things within reach, so his team has a chance to win. These stats show just how much Davis affects the game beyond scoring. He's not just out there putting up numbers. He's a true difference maker who helps his team in countless ways. From setting screens to altering defensive schemes and making smart plays, his teamwork impact is off the charts. After that, though, we can look at his ball handling stats. Anthony Davis's ball handling stats this season are insane, especially for a big man. The numbers really highlight how versatile he is. For someone his size, his ability to handle the ball and make plays is just incredible. Let's break it all down, because these stats deserve a closer look. First, his ball handling metric is ranked in the 72nd percentile. That's already impressive. But when you factor in that Davis is a big man who's often playing in the post or handling double teams, it's even more remarkable. He's got the skills of a guard packaged into a player who dominates at the rim. His assist numbers are solid. Davis is averaging 2.8 assists per game, which might not sound like a ton, but it's more than enough for a player who's primarily scoring and defending. Those assists translate to 6.7 points created per game for his teammates. That means Davis isn't just getting his own points, he's setting up others to score as well, keeping the offense flowing. His assist percentage stands at 14.33%. That shows how often he's directly responsible for his team's baskets while he's on the court. For context, that puts him above 60% of players in the league, which is an incredible stat for someone who spends most of their time in the paint or mid-range. Now let's talk about turnovers. Davis has a turnover rate of just 7.23%. That's the percentage of his possessions that end in a turnover, and it's better than 73% of players. Think about that for a second. A big man who handles the ball as much as Davis does is turning it over less than most players in the league. That level of efficiency is rare. On top of that, he's only averaging 2.1 turnovers per game. Considering he's taking nearly 24 scoring attempts per game, that's incredibly low. It shows how smart he is with the ball in his hands. He knows when to make the pass, when to take the shot, and when to protect the ball. Davis's combination of ball handling, playmaking, and efficiency is what sets him apart. Most big men don't have the freedom to bring the ball up the court or create their own shots. But Davis isn't most big men. He's out here crossing defenders, dishing dimes, and keeping turnovers to a minimum. For a player his size, these advanced stats are a testament to how skilled he really is. His handles and decision-making make him one of the most unique players in the game today. It's no wonder his impact is felt in every aspect of the game. After that, we can look at his defense. Anthony Davis's defensive stats this season are absolutely wild. He's a force on that end of the court, and the numbers back it up. When you look at how he impacts the game defensively, it's clear he's one of the best in the league. First off, his mixed team defense ranking places him in the 71st percentile. That means Davis is better than 71% of players at disrupting opposing offenses, both as a team defender and in one-on-one situations. His ability to lock in on his assignment while still providing help defense is something special. Now, let's talk blocks. Davis is averaging 1.9 blocks per game. That's nearly 2 shots erased every single night. Those aren't just meaningless stats either. His blocks are game-changing. They stop momentum, swing possessions, and intimidate opponents from even attempting shots around the rim. His steals are just as impressive for a big man. He's averaging 1.3 steals per game, which is more than many guards and wings in the league. That speaks to his quick hands and sharp instincts. Davis isn't just waiting around for blocks. He's out there disrupting passing lanes and picking pockets. Rebounding is another huge part of his defensive dominance. He's grabbing 8.5 defensive rebounds per game. That's a massive number and shows how committed he is to closing out possessions. Grabbing those boards means fewer second chance opportunities for opponents, and it lets his team get back on the attack. The team's overall defensive efficiency with Davis on the floor is 117.9. While that might not sound like an elite number, it highlights the challenges of playing in today's high-paced, three-point heavy game. What's incredible is how much worse it would be without Davis anchoring the defense. When you put all these numbers together, you see the full picture of his defensive impact. Davis isn't just protecting the rim or contesting shots. He's doing it all. He's guarding multiple positions, switching onto guards when needed, and still dominating the glass. The mix of individual brilliance and team impact is what separates him from other defenders. Most players excel at one or two aspects of defense, but Davis is stuffing the stat sheet across the board. Blocks, steals, rebounds. He's affecting every area of the game. For a big man, having this kind of versatility is so rare. He's not just a traditional shot blocker or rebounder. Davis can defend on the perimeter, cover for his teammates, and make life miserable for anyone who dares to challenge him in the paint. Watching him play defense is like seeing an artist at work. His timing, instincts, and athleticism make him one of the most complete defenders in the game. These stats are just the proof of what everyone sees on the court. But the one place Davis excels the most is, of course, his rebounding. Anthony Davis's rebounding this season is absolutely on another level. The stats he's putting up are crazy, especially considering how versatile his role is. Let's break it down, because this man is dominating the glass in every way possible. First off, Davis is averaging 11.1 rebounds per game. That puts him in the 93rd percentile among all players. To be better than 93% of the league in any category is impressive. But for rebounding, that's just pure hustle, positioning, and strength. What makes this even more wild is how much of an impact he's making on both ends of the floor. On the offensive boards, Davis is grabbing 2.7 rebounds per game. His offensive rebound percentage is 7.83%, which places him above 81% of players. For a player who spends a lot of time in motion and not just camping under the basket, that's an elite stat. Those offensive rebounds don't just pad his stats, they're creating second chance opportunities. Whether he's tipping the ball back out or going right back up for a quick bucket, Davis is turning broken plays into points. That's such a momentum shifter for any team. Defensively, he's even more dominant. Davis is pulling down 8.5 defensive rebounds per game, and his defensive rebound percentage is an insane 23.3%. That also ranks him in the 93rd percentile. He's vacuuming up nearly a quarter of all missed shots when he's on the floor. What I love about his defensive rebounding is how it sets the tone. He's not just grabbing the ball, he's securing possessions and igniting fast breaks. When Davis cleans up the glass, it lets his team transition quickly, which is such a huge advantage in today's fast-paced game. The consistency is what stands out. Night after night, Davis is battling down low, boxing out, and making sure his team gets the ball. Rebounding is one of those things that doesn't always get the spotlight, but it's so important. And Davis is showing why. And let's not forget how tough it is to rebound at this level. The NBA is full of big athletic players, and Davis is outworking nearly all of them. His combination of size, athleticism, and timing makes him a nightmare to deal with on the boards. He's not just standing under the basket and waiting for the ball to come to him. Davis reads the flight of the ball, anticipates where it'll bounce, and positions himself perfectly. That's why his numbers are so consistently high. Rebounding is about effort and instincts, and Davis has both in spades. When you look at these stats, it's clear he's not just playing hard, he's playing smart. Every rebound he grabs is one less opportunity for the other team, and that's a huge part of his value. The balance between his offensive and defensive rebounding is what really makes this special. Some players excel on one side of the ball, but Davis is elite on both ends. He's cleaning up misses on offense and making sure the other team doesn't get extra chances on defense. What's crazy is how these numbers reflect his role as a big man in today's game. He's not just playing in the paint, he's switching on to guards, defending the perimeter, and still dominating the boards. That versatility makes his rebounding even more impressive. Davis's rebounding stats this season aren't just good, they're historic. These numbers show how much of an impact he's having, not just in one area, but across the board. Every rebound he grabs is a statement of his dominance, and it's been amazing to watch. And the crazy thing is how high his usage is as well. Anthony Davis's usage stats this season are absolutely mind-blowing. His usage rate is sitting at an incredible 31.9%, which puts him above 97% of players in the league. That's a huge number, and it shows just how much of the offense is running through him right now. When you look at the actions he's taking, it's easy to see why his usage is so high. Davis is averaging 19.1 field goal attempts per game. That's a ton of shots, and it speaks to how much responsibility he has as a scorer. Whether it's in the post, mid-range, or even attacking the rim, he's constantly getting involved. And then there's his free throw attempts. He's taking 10.3 free throws per game. That's a testament to how aggressive he's been and how difficult it is for defenders to stop him without fouling. Those trips to the line aren't just adding to his points, they're also slowing the game down and giving his team a chance to reset. What makes this even more impressive is how efficient Davis has been with such a heavy workload. Sure, he's got a high usage rate, but he's also dishing out 2.8 assists per game. That shows he's not just looking for his own shot, he's creating opportunities for his teammates too. Of course, with this level of involvement, turnovers are going to happen. Davis is averaging 2.1 turnovers per game, but when you consider how many possessions he's playing, 72.4 per game, that's actually a very manageable number. It shows he's making smart decisions, even with the ball in his hands so often. This kind of usage rate is rare for any player, but for a big man, it's almost unheard of. Most bigs don't handle the ball as much as Davis does, let alone play such a central role in the offense. It's not just about taking a lot of shots. It's about being the focal point of nearly every possession. Davis's ability to handle this level of responsibility is incredible. He's playing at a pace and volume that would wear down most players, yet he's still dominating. These stats don't just highlight his talent. They show his endurance, intelligence, and commitment to carrying the load for his team. When you break it all down, this season isn't just about how much Davis is doing, it's about how well he's doing it. His usage stats aren't just numbers. They're a reflection of how much he's trusted to make plays and deliver night after night. Watching him step into this role and thrive has been nothing short of amazing. And for his shooting, there's two spots he excels the most in. First is the paint, specifically the restricted area. Anthony Davis has been an absolute beast in the restricted area this season. He's shooting an incredible 64.5% from this spot, hitting 129 of his 200 attempts. That kind of efficiency is elite. It puts him ahead of 80% of players in the league, which is insane considering the level of competition. What really stands out is how much Davis uses the restricted area. This is his go-to spot on the court, and for good reason. It's where he does the most damage, and defenders know it's coming, but still can't stop him. Whether it's through powerful dunks, soft touch finishes, or crafty moves to create space, he's dominating this area like it's his personal playground. The volume he's working with is just as impressive as his efficiency. 200 attempts in the restricted area, that's a huge chunk of his offense. And he's not just taking easy shots, he's battling through contact, navigating traffic, and making plays that most players can only dream of. This kind of production shows just how smart and skilled Davis is. He knows where he's most effective, and he's constantly putting himself in positions to succeed. It's not just about athleticism. It's about footwork, timing, and an ability to read the defense. He's making moves that are both calculated and unstoppable. What's wild is how reliable Davis is in these moments. Shooting over 64% on that kind of volume, that's consistency at its finest. He's not just having the occasional big night, he's putting up numbers in the restricted area, game after game, week after week. This level of dominance forces defenses to adjust. Teams are throwing extra bodies at him, but it still doesn't work. He's too strong, too quick, and too skilled. Even when they send double teams, he finds a way to finish or draw a foul. Davis's restricted area stats aren't just numbers. They're a reflection of his overall impact. This is where games are won and lost, and he's owning this space like no one else. Watching him control the paint with this kind of efficiency is just incredible. It's proof of why he's one of the best big men in the league. Every time Davis steps onto the floor, he's reminding everyone that the restricted area is his territory. This season, he's turning it into a highlight reel every single night. Besides there, though, he does use the top of the key three a lot. Anthony Davis has been absolutely dominating from the top of the key this season, hitting 50% of his shots from that range. He's 10 for 20, and that's an insane stat for a big man. In fact, he's outperforming 87% of players in the league in this area. That's right, over 4 out of 5 players are hitting fewer shots than him from the top of the key. What's even crazier is how often he's using this spot on the floor. The top of the key is Davis's second most used shooting location, right behind the restricted area, where he's even more lethal. The fact that he's not just hitting these shots at a high percentage, but also taking them with regularity shows just how much confidence he has in his game. This spot is becoming a key part of Davis's offensive arsenal. When he's on the floor, defenders have to account for his ability to stretch the floor, making it harder for them to focus solely on his inside presence. He's pulling up with ease from the top of the key, and defenders can't just sag off him or let him have that space because he'll punish them for it. Davis's smooth shooting motion and high release point give him a unique advantage in this area. He's able to rise above defenders and knock down shots without hesitation, and the efficiency with which he's doing it is just insane. At 50%, he's putting himself in the elite company of shooters, something you don't expect from a guy of his size and skill set. This is what makes him so tough to defend. The top of the key used to be reserved for guards and wings who specialize in shooting, but Davis has added another layer to his game. The fact that he's able to space the floor in this way makes him even more dangerous. The defense can't just collapse and focus on limiting his post moves or rim protection. Now they've got to respect his shooting ability all over the floor. Davis is showing that he's more than just an inside force. He can step out and make plays from all over the court. With his shooting percentage from the top of the key, he's proving he can keep defenders guessing, making him a nightmare for anyone trying to guard him. Overall, though, Anthony Davis is absolutely crushing it this season, and it's been so exciting to watch. His all-around performance has been outstanding. His rebounding, scoring, defense, and overall presence on the floor are at the highest level. Davis is truly playing like one of the best in the league right now, and it's easy to see how he's been so impactful for the team. If he keeps this up, it'd be amazing to see him win his second championship. The way he's been playing, it's hard not to imagine him being a key piece of another championship run, but beyond just the championship, Davis could also make a serious push for his first MVP award this season. I mean, he's been that good. While my gut tells me Nikola Jokic will probably take home his fourth MVP. Yeah, you heard that right, fourth MVP. Things are still early, and you just never know how this season is going to shake out. There are always surprises. It would be a huge achievement for Davis to grab that MVP trophy, and considering the way he's playing, it's not totally out of the question. He's already been playing at such a high level, and if the team can continue to succeed, you can bet he'll be in the MVP conversation. With his ability to dominate on both ends of the floor, plus his ability to lead the team, it wouldn't be crazy to think he could break through and earn that recognition. At the end of the day, though, I think what makes this season so special for Davis is how he's been able to stay consistent. He's playing with intensity and determination every game, and that's what will ultimately lead him to more success down the road. Whether it's his scoring, rebounding, or defending, Davis is doing it all. Watching him in his prime has been a treat, and if he stays healthy, he could have one of the best seasons of his career. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.